back where they belong, as Bukayo Saka says. And do you know what? On that away record, Arsenal hadn't won away in the Champions League in their last 5 games. They hadn't scored away in the Champions League in their last 4. This was huge. This equaled their biggest ever away win in the Champions League, which was 5-1 against Inter back in 2003. Are we now seeing, as we heard from Bukayo Saka, an Arsenal side that does belong in this competition, that is as good as some of the old Arsenal sides that we've seen previously?
Well, they're building, aren't they? And they're certainly building their reputation. I just feel that at the moment, I mean, we talked to Saka there, talked about belief, and there were occasions this season when you thought, okay, the world was against them a little bit. They kept that belief. And I think Ødegaard is a player that's come in and really opened up that creative channel for Saka, and those two in tandem are as good as anything in Europe on that right-hand side of that pitch. They really are that good. So long may that continue. It's one performance, one result, and they've got to take that forward now for the rest of this to try to qualify for the next stages of the Champions League. And as Rio said, there's going to be 7 or 8 games now where they're going to have to win on the bounce to put Liverpool under any kind of pressure in the Premier League. They're the rules. That's what happens. It's a tough league they're in. They have to keep winning, but tonight will be a tremendous boost for their confidence.
We've talking about, and rightly so, about how much this team missed Ødegaard, but let's not undercut or undervalue the importance of Bukayo Saka.
Yeah.
Because he had the armband at the end of the game there. He could be Arsenal captain without a shadow of a doubt. He doesn't need the armband. He's a leader in this team already. He leads them with his ability to take the ball all the time. Under pressure or no pressure, he wants the ball and wants to make something happen. His goals return, his goals and assists, consistency is through the roof. And he's someone, again, who England are going to really have to rely upon in years to come. But here at Arsenal, he's just like the whole place is built for him.
He has carried the club for a number of years, by the way. But he needs help around him. And of course, when you see that in big numbers, of course, I think there's lots of mentions here tonight as well. I think Partey is somebody that the fans weren't sure about. I think he's probably having his best season. Timber was away last year with the injury. He looked really secure on that right-hand side. The two centre backs.
Ben White come back in the team if he's fit, with the way Timber's playing?
Well, it's interesting. He's had surgery on his knee. There's competition for places. I think they're all going to be needed anyway at some point. There's so many games, isn't there, to get through. But it's now shaping up the squad. It's still work to do, though, because Liverpool, what are they, 8-9 points ahead of Arsenal? Yeah. So in the Premier League, you turn your attention to that this weekend, playing against West Ham, who somehow beat Newcastle away from home, which now is not an easy thing to do. So there's never an easy game for them, but they've got to just keep in that mode. And I think that does a lot for their confidence tonight.
There's nothing like a boost of a big midweek win, especially at the highest level in the Champions League against a side like Sporting, who we said pre-match, they were the form team in the competition. And when you see how Arsenal performed in those opening exchanges, in the opening 45 minutes, creating those opening 2 goals down that right-hand side, that was key. And that is Saka, that is Ødegaard, and as you mentioned, that's Timber.
Yeah, and this is, again, you notice it even more because he's not been there, Ødegaard, but he comes out there, and again, one big detail in the game today, crosses create havoc, pandemonium in opponents' boxes. You cross the ball, you create chances, I'm telling you that. And here again, that's the first cross. There's 3 crosses in the first half, all result in goals. And it's just fabulous play of overloads in areas, and then anticipating the ball coming into the box. And as I said, Havertz, I thought he would say, his movement, running, creating space for other players.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
His position.
Yeah.
Very intelligent. He's always available. Everyone's played their part there tonight. So I think that Martinelli is important as well, because sometimes in front of goal it looks like he's snatching things a little bit. That was a nice little tuck away for him, but again, it's confidence boost for him.
Absolutely. Everyone played their part. Everyone raised their game. They did what they do best, and something that Arsenal do best as well, or do very well, is set pieces and scoring from them. And Gabriel is one of those players who always seems to pop up.
We've gone a bit quiet on set pieces in recent weeks, so this will be good for the coach. The set-piece coach, and the ball in is absolutely delicious. Declan Rice was asked to do this around about Christmas time last year. He came on to set-pieces, and since then, I mean, the amount of times he delivers like that is first class. Gabriel.
We're really talking about the goals scored. Raya made 8 saves today, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's played his part as well in this team, and he's coming up and standing up as a really key component in this side as well. Great personality to come in the circumstances he did and still produce performances, and now he's an outright number 1. So any great team, any team wanting a challenge for any trophies needs a really good goalkeeper, and he's really turned into one.
Yeah, exactly. That was an inspired move, wasn't it, from Mikel Arteta? He knew what he was doing when he brought in David Raya. At half-time we said, look, they're 3-0 up. This is going brilliantly. Martin, you're always a little bit nervous when it comes to Arsenal, and you were right to be, because as soon as that second half kicked off, 47 minutes in, Sporting go and do this.
Yeah, they did, and we knew that because the City game, they scored 2 goals in quick succession, 2 goals in 3 minutes, and you wondered if it was going to be the same sort of evening. Calafiori there gets done a little bit, early movements to the near post, he can't get there. There's 1 or 2 players not reacting quick enough, and then you thought, hold on, is this going to be, look, let's get back into position.
You were on your knees at this moment, under this table, under this desk.
I had every confidence.
We needed studio cam, didn't we?
Putting you back on your chair.
I realised there was a lot of, let's say, not Arsenal fans in the studio when that went in. There were a lot of cheers around me. But Arsenal overcame that, and in the end, they were completely dominant. There was never any scares after that.
Yeah, and that's it. They were absolutely dominant. I mean, let's take a look at the penalty incident now. That one came shortly after. I suppose there's no arguments here, Rio.
No, there wasn't. But again, comes from that right-hand side, coming inside the pitch. Odegaard at the centre of everything. And I couldn't believe the reaction of the Sporting players here. They couldn't believe the penalty was given. You see it there in slow motion.
Well, 2 of them involved.
He kicks only the calf of Odegaard, and this guy steps up. No doubts
Pressure
at all. Yeah, no doubts. Side netting, look, no keeper's getting that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they made sure of it, as if it wasn't already, with Leandro Trossard coming off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good shot there as well. 2 substitutes involved, and Trossard just staying on side, times it nicely. I mean, look, really smacks that hard, and then he just tucks it away. So good for the squad players coming on. Keeps that spirit going, everybody playing their part now. They're going to be needed between now and the end of the season. A lot of work to do.
Sporting, by the way, Amorim, gone, and then gets smashed 5-1 like that. Wow. Imagine the newspapers back over there in Portugal. We're going crazy.
Yeah. Well, this is the interesting part, because we talked about the foundations being laid by Ruben Amorim and actually João Pereira maybe not having to tinker too much. But today what they saw was a lesson by Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal really did their homework, though, in the way that they played the game, the tactics, the overloads they created in midfield. They couldn't really engage. They never really got tight enough to Arsenal, and took every opportunity that came their way. So, no, you'd expect them now to bounce back, but nonetheless, without their manager, there's 1 or 2 players in there feeling a bit wounded after that performance tonight. So, it's going to be a tricky evening for them to deal with this.
Yeah, do you know what? We talked pre-match about Victor Gyökeres, how to keep him quiet. He's the man who is on everyone's lips, is the player. Every season it seems that there's a big number 9 who's coming up and who's going to have him. Arsenal did a job on him today, didn't they?
Yeah, but we mentioned before the game and showed his strengths, but his strengths we spoke about played into the strengths of the 2 centre-halves he was up against. And that's what he would find in the Premier League week in, week out. 2 big, strong, quick centre-halves majority of the time. And can he deal with them? It wasn't until Gabriel went off that he actually got a bit of joy against Kivor, because a player who's not as quick and not as strong. But these 2 centre-halves are 2 of the best as a partnership, and they didn't give him an ounce the whole game that they were on the pitch together. They're there. This is where he's been crucifying teams in those areas, running the channels. These guys look supremely comfortable and confident doing that. And so, have I seen enough to say that I think he can come to the Premier League and be a success? I'm not saying he wouldn't, but I'd say you'd need to see more than what we saw today. Definitely.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think, credit to the Arsenal boys. They rose to the challenge, and they are quick, strong, mobile, and they dealt with pretty well everything that he put his way. Kivor came on, had a little bit of an issue. You can see that. But he wasn't able to bully them. And even with this shot here, a bit wild, maybe trying too hard. They didn't necessarily give him an awful lot of the ball. There again, he's shooting really early because he doesn't fancy it, does he? Taking on Gabriel. So I think they showed their quality tonight.
But your confidence is shot by that point, isn't it? Because
wow, Arsenal today is so incredible. 5 past Sporting. It's not easy. It's not easy. No matter how we want to see it, it's not easy at all. They did well. They did well. Since I noticed something. Since Odegaard came back, Arsenal have become sensational. Honestly, they are doing wonders. Their last match 3, today 5. That is massive improvement. Just one player just brought from coming back from injury. That is to show you how much Arsenal miss Odegaard. Saka is in another level. Saka is on another level. Honestly, that guy, in short, is underrated. Is underrated. That guy is up there. The guy he have been doing massively. Have been doing massively. Look at movement. Look at, in short, that guy is Arsenal. Well, we say Odegaard, but Saka is Arsenal best player for me. That guy na player. That guy na player. Today match is well deserved. They deserve it. They really deserve it because Sporting that beat Man City. Even Victor, one player, score hat-trick. Even today, it be like he's not in the pitch. That is to show you how good Arsenal have become. This Champions League, everybody have to watch out too, because Arsenal is coming. Honestly, because for now in Champions League, Arsenal is one of the hottest team right now. Whether you like it or not, no, but that is the reality right now. That is the reality. And them carrying this form coming back to this weekend for Premier League, everybody have to be ready because Arsenal is really, really coming.